Diddy's charges or the predicate acts under the Rico charge are not being dismissed against Diddy. And now it's time to try to clean up some of the confusion that's happening from the mainstream media reporting on this and other people just like myself. So let's get into it. After watching my friend on here, the Kent law firm and Law and Crime Network break this all down, they believe that this is just the prosecution wanting to remove attempted arson and attempted kidnapping, which means there's still arson and kidnapping under the Rico charge. It's just going to make the jury instructions simpler to understand. The same thing is going with the aiding and abetting of trafficking that we also knew they threw out. They only wanted to say trafficking instead of aiding and abetting.
Usually I don't do this, but let's break them off a little something on the remix. I'm not trying to be rude. Normally I don't post this many times a day, but overwhelming comments have been coming out, and been watching the news incorrectly report that the government is throwing out sex trafficking, arsoning counts against Combs. Now, first, you must be realized the government filed a letter last night, and let's read the first paragraph of the letter so you understand. The government understands the court's desire for streamlined instruction. Streamlined. With that in mind, the government has suggested ways to streamline the instructions, making them more simple. Specifically, the government has removed instructions from the charge relating to attempted kidnapping under both California and New York law, attempted arson under California law, and aiding and abetting sex trafficking. The government no longer plans to proceed on those theories of liability, so instructions are not necessary. So what has happened here is like, the government is throwing out the sex trafficking, the government is throwing out the arson. No. Normally, when you are in trial and the judge gives a jury charge, so people in the courtroom get ready, a jury charge on a one-count indictment can take 45 minutes to an hour. So imagine all of this. The judge is thinking, wait, I've got to explain to the jury arson, then attempted arson, and then aiding and abetting arson. And the government's like, let's just streamline this completely. So if you go and you look at the jury before today, this is what the government, remember I read about it the other day, the prosecutor's proposed jury instruction said the following. If you find the defendant guilty of count one, then please indicate whether the pattern of racketeering activity that the defendant agreed would be committed involved arson, attempted arson, including aiding and abetting arson, or conspiracy to commit arson in violation of California law. All they're saying is let's streamline it, Judge, and let's say the following. If you found the defendant guilty of count one, then please indicate whether the pattern of racketeering activity that the defendant agreed would be committed involved arson in violation of California law. This also goes with the sex trafficking. If you found the defendant guilty of count one, then please indicate whether the pattern of racketeering activity that the defendant agreed would be committed involved kidnapping, including attempted kidnapping, aiding and abetting kidnapping, or conspiracy to commit kidnapping in violation of New York law. Translation, they're going to limit all that to say the defendant agreed would be committed involved kidnapping in violation of New York law. Streamline. That is all that means, is that they are trying to streamline the process. I do not believe that the federal government has sent a random letter that says we are now dismissing the arson and the kidnapping and the sex trafficking charges. They're trying to streamline it because the judge has basically made it seem like this is too long. If we have to explain and go through all of this, everybody go together and try to streamline this process so the law that I explained to the jury is significantly easier. Bounce, 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 bounce. Take that, take that, take that, take that, take that.
Now at 2 p.m., there is a charge conference where we should be learning more about this because the prosecution's letter has honestly put out a lot of confusion the way they worded it. But after hearing the Kent law firm break this down and the Law and Crime Network, I assume what they said about the attempted arson and attempted kidnapping just being restricted to make it easier for the jury to understand is the most likely probability. This is something that I will be watching to see if we have any more information throughout the day, because we do know that Diddy's lawyers were arguing about these specific crimes yesterday, saying that there was no evidence of neither one of them. But for now, y'all let me know what you guys think about all this in the comments.